talking about rules, and it's so funny because these are the dramas, you know, of our life, and this is just a drama. It's about revenge, it's about hurt, it's about, you know, somebody stealing somebody's boyfriend. Now, maybe in the same way, this doesn't happen to us. It can, and a lot of times it does, but it happens to everybody, all these hurts, all these dramas that go on in our life, and we have these hidden rules because we always want to hear when we get hurt, because there isn't a person here that hasn't been hurt by some kind of drama in their life. And for me, I have an unwritten rule, or it's an unenforced rule, and it's a rule that I can't do anything about, and here's what it is. David. David.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
So we have I'm sorry, remember Brenda Lee? Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, so sorry. That's been one of my unwritten rules, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. I want people to be sorry when they do something mean, you know, when they hurt you, you know. So this is a subconscious rule that we kind of run through our minds, and you all have them. So I was thinking about, you know, we have a lot of them, and I'm going to go through these a little bit. But, you know, that's the first thing that when something hurts me, I wanted my husband to just sit down and tell me why. I know, so you're saying, yeah, that you want to hear, I'm sorry that you hurt me. You're so wonderful. You know, how could that have ever happened, you know, to a wonderful woman like me, you know? But what happens is that we keep these subconscious thoughts inside of us, and it hurts even worse. So here's what an unenforceable rule. This is Fred Luskin's work, and here's what he says that an unenforceable rule is. It's a desire that you believe deeply must come true, but you don't have any control over it. You know, and it renders you angry and helpless and bitter, and it's these pathways in our neural pathways in our brain, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And so here's the major ones that, and I'm sure that you guys will relate to this. These are the major, common, unenforceable rules. My partner will be faithful. People will not lie to me. People will treat me kind and care about me. Life has to be easy. My past should have been different. Parents should have treated me better. These are irrational beliefs and unenforceable rules that are in our subconscious. Now, logically, we know, you know, that's not going to happen. But these are these things that we act upon because they're in our subconscious. And notice that the languages are always about must and should. They're a rigid way of thinking, subconsciously. Now, of course, consciously, we don't believe that really, but subconscious, they're in our mind. And the problem stems because it's unenforceable, right? You know, I can't do anything about somebody else saying that they're sorry. If life, you know, life's not always fair, but inside, I think it should be. I think it should be. Not even I think, I just know it is. It's fair. So it's an imperfect world, but there's so much love. And that's the idea that we're talking about, this forgiveness project. This is what Fred Luskin is talking about in his work and that we're working with, is that we identify in our own being our unenforceable rules, and then we forgive. There's a whole process of it, and that's what we've been working with all month. It's being able to look at the rules in our life that we have. And our spiritual process is not to indulge those rules, not to indulge the pain that we have, and it's not to be able to forget it, right? It's to be in the middle. And I want to talk about the middle path a little bit. But what I know is that for me, that I've had to open, you know, to the pain in life, to the things that have happened, and each of us have had so much different things happen to us, to let it flow through us and not get stuck on either side of it. You know, let life flow and become a witness to it. You know, become a witness to our life and step back and bring the light of consciousness to the things that happened in our life. And I look at the things that I've seen, you guys, the stuff that has happened in your life, and I've seen so much depth and so much character and so much compassion come from the pain that you've been through. I've sat in groups and I've heard your stories where there's been abuse and there's been, you know, you've been left, you've been hurt. And you have come through it so much stronger. And I think that's what we have to realize, is that when we go through these hurts, you know, we can't bury them down. We can't bury our hurts down. We have to be able to embrace them and not hang on forever, but be able to embrace them. And I'm saying this because it's important that we just don't step back and say, okay, I have an unenforceable rule. These are tools that we can use later. But when we get the hurt, we got to feel it, right? The minute someone's hurting you, you got to feel it. I'm not saying that we don't feel it and then set up all these rules, of how we deal with it, but that we feel our pain, because our feelings are healthy. Our feelings are healthy. And when we feel, we evolve, we get better, and we get stronger. And we need to experience our full feelings before we can learn what to do next. That's an important thing to know. So see, if Judy runs off with Johnny, right, and you're feeling that pain, then you have to say, how can I get through this to the best of my ability? How can I get through this and still feel? Feel it all. Don't hide it. Pretend it didn't happen. And then don't stay there forever and camp out in that feeling. So it's kind of an iffy thing. You're right in the middle of, what do I do? How long should I grieve? Shouldn't I be over this by now? See, we evolve by being more human than being less human. And I think that's important. And I think for our kind of thinking sometimes, in spiritual thinking, we think we shouldn't be human, that we just want to get to this path of being divine. We just want to be in this mystical realm of feeling good, and knowing God. But humanity is how you get to know God. You go fully through your humanity to feel the presence. Human is God. Humanity, divinity. It's the same thing. It's God expressing through us. It's fully embracing. See, fully embracing. So that's the idea. So we have a pain in our life. We have these terrible pains. We embrace it, we feel it, and then we start to look at it after an amount of time. And we say, what can I do about it? It's been a while now. I'm still feeling this pain. How can I get through this? How can I forgive? And this is what we're talking about today. What Fred Luskin says is that we stop demanding life. We stop demanding life, the rules in life, that life treats everybody fair. We open, and we let life move through us, and we let it come, and we face life. And even if it hurts, we get through it and become stronger. What if we started to abandon the words that we use? A gentler wish or a hope, not a language of it must be this way, it has to be this way, because that sticks in our subconscious and we start to believe that, and it hurts worse. We make a new groove in our brain and we walk the middle path. The first sermon that Buddha ever taught was walking the middle path. It was about the middle, about not being so clinging to each side. I'm right, this is right, and this is wrong. Democrats are right, Republicans are wrong, Republicans are right, Democrats are wrong. You know what I'm saying? You walk the middle and you see it all over. We do it in our lives. We get so opinionated, and our opinions are what hurt us. When we walk in the middle path and we can see it all, we have a balanced approach. Even Aristotle called it the golden mean. The golden mean. He said it's between two extremes. The extremes are what hurts in life. We stay out. See, another thing is that I learned, I don't know about you guys, but what I learned was positive thinking, right? We don't want to think negative. Let's think positive. I don't think that anymore. You know what I think? Of grateful thinking. We change it from grateful and forgiving thinking to just being positive, because if you're just positive all the time, there's always a negative, right? There's always a negative, and sometimes you don't feel real positive. You can look at yourself in the mirror forever and say, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. And you're still poor, right? So you can always be grateful for what you have. You can always be grateful, and you can always be forgiving. So if that's your whole beingness, if you live in gratitude and you live in this air of openness of whatever comes to you, you accept, and you're grateful for what it is. There's always something good to find. It's funny because I remember working in Seattle years ago, and I was a sales manager, and I had a team of sales reps, and I had this one guy who was like such a positive, he's really positive, and I liked him a lot. And you'd walk in, and I go, how are you, how are you doing today? And he'd go, say something like, I couldn't be better if I was twins. Have you ever heard that? I never got that. What is that? But anyway, you would say stuff like that. He just had these little things to say, and he was upbeat and stuff. But underneath, I could tell there was a sadness kind of about him, And then there was another guy that was his friend. They were best friends. And this guy was a sad sack. It's like, you'd say, how are you? And he'd tell you his whole story of everything that has gone on and stuff. And then there was a girl who just was kind of grateful. She just lived this life of, she wasn't always, everything's perfect and everything's bad. It was just this life where she was honest, authentic, what was going on, she would share, but it wasn't always one or the other. She walked the middle path. And that's kind of what I'm talking about here, is being able to come to center with our lives, You know, not in the middle. Be in the middle. It's space. You give your problems more space. Does that make sense? See, if you become bigger, and by bigger I mean when you center yourself in more God, more good stuff, your problems seem smaller. Have you ever done that before? I think in religious science, they called it the Golden Key. I think Emmett Fox wrote this thing. Do you remember that, Kathy? Yeah, a little book called The Golden Key. And I remember going through just this pain in my life, this terrible time, and reading it. It was all about that you don't focus, you know, because what we do is we focus after the pain's gone, you know. I'm saying we should feel the pain, but after a while, it's like time to get out of it, right? You know? And so what this says is that you should just focus on God. And by God, it's like the goodness of the universe. By the energy, all of the great things in your life. You focus on that. You feel it. Because see, when you align your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions together, we create powerful, powerful energy. We align with the universe because that's what God is. It's the love of the universe. That's what God is. The love and the joy. And that's what happens when we are able to feel it. So, to me, the golden key, that was huge in my life. And it was finding the energy of beauty and love so that you can balance out the grievances and the pain in your life. So probably the best message ever that you could ever get would be that you make yourself godlike and you let your grievances go to the back, you know, long-term grievances. And pretty soon all you have is this energy of God in you. And its beauty and love is the high vibration of the universe, and that's what we are. You know, as we align our emotions and our thoughts, we start to draw to us those experiences too. And they start to reflect back to us goodness. You know, that's what this mirror is that we live in. You know, we open, we smile, we love, we feel. Can't fake it. I'm not saying you can fake it. But when you really feel it, it comes to you. God comes to you. When you feel it and you know it and it touches your heart. So here's the rule. So I've got a rule now that I'm going to do instead of saying I'm sorry, you know. I'm sorry. Everybody has to say they're sorry. My new rule is that anything can happen to anyone, anytime, and we can still live this incredible, magnificent life because we have this power in us. We have the power of the universe inside each and every one of us. And that's so exciting to me. That's my prayer, is that we always remember this, that we remember the truth of our being. Thank you.